I've been running from God probably for like 11 years. It was up and down, in and out of drug addiction, alcohol. I got into all kinds of drugs. I mean, they say weed is a gateway drug. For me, it was. Since my other friends were bringing new drugs in, like acid and cocaine and just alcohol in general, or crystal meth or whatever it was, I would naturally try those drugs and experiment with those and see what kind of masquerade or pleasure they would give me for the moment. I know for sure, because of the things that I was into, that more than likely I'd be in prison for a long time, and or dead, either way. Because really that's all that addictions lead you to, always in the end, is death and prison, brokenness, damage to families, damage to friends, and damage to yourself and to your relationship with God. If you have that, it's just all bad all the way around. Before I came to the mission, about August 2008, I got into some trouble with some legal issues, and I was in my addiction, and I knew I needed some help. And so I chose to come to the mission, and that's how I ended up here. About 2-3 weeks into it, I realized that I had some major wrong thinking in my mind, and it started to transform me as far as how I looked at myself, how I looked at God, how I thought God looked at me, how I needed to look at other individuals. And what happened was, at that point, I said, man, I really do want to change, because now I started to be able to see somebody that I wanted to be. I could actually start to see that maybe God did actually really love me. I always said, well, how can God really love me? I don't love me. I don't look at myself as a real person, like a good person, or what someone might say is a good person. But as I began to realize that God actually did love me, and He calls me His son, and that He's my Father, that at that point, that's when I would say that could be a breaking point, but it was different. It wasn't like I came to the bottom of the barrel and then had to come out of that. It was more or less I was already there, and I just needed to get my thinking right so I could start thinking clearly. My only dream is that I can say at the end of my life that my life meant something to the glory of God, and that I was used by God to affect other people.